Max the Axe in costume tonight with red hat.
But he's kind of a big deal.
Okay, can you hear me? I hope you can hear me. I'm having some audio issues tonight. My my Blue Snowball microphone is not working, or it's not being detected by my computer. So I'm not sure what's up with that. Hopefully you can hear me now. Can you hear me now? I'm hoping. Okay, good. Yes, audio issues. But it seems to be a common thing that Windows 10 has a hard time detecting the Blue Snowball. Now, what we're going to be doing tonight is the top hits. Well, not the top hits. The Nigel Tufnel top 10, Judas Priest. And here's my drawing that I made of the Ram It Down album cover that I made back in grade 10, I guess it would have been. Still have it. The paper is all moldy. It's spotted with mold, but I still have it. And I have my list. My list is prepared. It's all set, ready to go. We have Jon Snow with us tonight. We have Harrison Kopp. And on graphs, we have Geoff Steven from 1001 Albums in 10 Years. And with us now, we have our first of several guests tonight. Mr. Harrison, how are you doing, the Contrarian?
Hello, I'm doing good.
Excellent.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah.
You know,
Just checking.
funny enough, you know, I've been rewatching the show that we did last year. Happy anniversary, by the way.
Thanks.
You have a much thicker mustache beard combo than you had at this time last year.
I'm glad to see that. It's better than the other way around.
I suppose, yes, I suppose. Let me see here. We got some comments here. Lana, I know you were in this location for the album cover designer stream, but what up with the new location? Well, you are going to see a sunset like you have never seen tonight, if all goes well. I have a sunset cam that I hope will catch some pretty cool colors. What kind is it? What kind is what? What are we talking about? Harrison sounds like he just got out of Harrison did just get out of bed. That's the thing, right? It's Saturday.
About an hour ago.
Happy Saturday, buddy.
Thanks. Lana is very astute.
Yes. She's closer to you geographically, though, than any of us.
As Obi-Wan would say, your insight serve you well.
I don't know if it's really insight, or if it's just looking at a map.
I was talking about Lana picking up that I got up an hour ago.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah. Frank. Oh, okay. So that's what Frank was asking about the tree. It's a metal birch tree. Isn't that exciting? Wait till if you see it lit up. It's quite exciting.
I saw the photo that you posted of all the rays of sunlight coming through. That was a great photo. That
was from last weekend.
Really
that was actually I was burning some crap. I can see your Pink Floyd Pulse flashing away behind you.
It's going to be going off for like the next 5 months.
I was burning some crap last Sunday morning, and as the sun was rising, that was the smoke through the trees and everything. It was just awesome, really. It's a great picture. Hawaii is a long way from Australia, but she is still geographically closer to you than any of us. That is not being disputed. I hope.
Oh no.
We are all John, Geoff, and myself. We are all in the same time zone. I think, basically on the East Coast. And yes, Frank, it is one of the light up trees. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. What else? What else we got going on tonight? Well, I guess not only happy anniversary of your first appearance on this show, but it was also the happy anniversary of your official announcement of the Mad Metal Man website.
Ah, yes, that too.
Yeah. So do you feel 1 year older and wiser?
More 1 year more contrarian. Before I started, getting all of what's in here onto what's on here, I didn't really have that contrarian tag. I was just a little quirky and liked Blaze. But then the Priest series started, and it just ramped up.
Yeah. Now, we did this list show a year ago, the Judas Priest Nigel Tufnel Top 10. And it was one of the early shows when nobody was watching. So I thought it would be fun to redo it on the anniversary. And I was determined to come up with a different list, and I did. So I hope
my list was outdated as well anyway.
I'm sorry? Your list is dated as well?
It was outdated. Things have changed since a year ago.
And Jon Snow is just now working his way through the Priest catalog. So his experience with the later albums is very minimal. So we'll see what happens there. I know what happened on mine, and mine is largely a result of my listening to all the Judas Priest albums this week. So
all of them?
Basically, I think the only one I skipped was Redeemer of Souls.
Oh, even Ram It Down.
Oh, no, sorry. I skipped Ram It Down as well.
Good.
Those were the two I skipped. But I also, in their absence, I listened to a few tracks here and there that I remember liking, such as Creatures of the Night from Redeemer of Souls, and a couple of tracks off Ram It Down that were on the Metallurgy box set, which I also listened to.
There's about one track on Ram It Down worth listening to, and 4 on Redeemer of Souls, if memory serves well.
How many on Ram It Down?
1. Ram It Down.
That's harsh. Blood Red Skies.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we welcome on...
Yes, let's.
John T. Snow from TooLoud2OldMusic.com. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. How are you guys? Hey, Harris.
Really good.
Or good morning.
Yeah. Hopefully the lighting will improve as the show goes on. The sun's still coming up.
I think I have taken care of the lighting issue. Oh, look, a vehicle. John.
Where's the skunk?
Oh, I hope we see something. Max the Axe complained last week that he didn't see any wildlife on the camera.
Well, you've had plenty of that today.
Yeah, I had a skunk and I had a squirrel. John, I have not seen you since Paul Lane, I think.
Yep, last month.
Oh, that was a great show, man.
Yeah, I still haven't come down from that yet.
You have a lot to be proud of. And Harrison, I think the last time I saw you was Cover Tunes.
Yeah, I didn't even heard of Paul Lane, and it was still one of the best shows I've watched. It was so much fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it was great.
The lighting looks different in John's location. Well, that's because John's a professional.
The shades are up because my cats are over on the chair watching nature outside the front.
There you go. Or they could just watch the show. Look at this.
Hey, they're not going to watch.
Watch the show.
Well, if you had some squirrels and stuff, they probably would.
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I'm hoping. So, John, tell us where you are with your Judas Priest list.
With the series?
Yeah, just or just where you and your soul sit currently in your journey through the Judas Priest review series. How's that for a question?
No, that works. I'm actually on Ram It Down. That's as far as I've gotten in the series, and so I've spent a week with every album up until that point. So each album got a week, and I listened to it every day. So I don't have the last 8 albums, or actually I have the last 8 albums. I just haven't gotten to them yet. So over the last week or so, I've tried to throw them on when I can. So I do have some from those last few albums on the list.
Okay.
Anticipation of where they might be based on my 1 or 2 listens.
I like that.
And there's one I've got more experience with than others, but
I like your.
It was good to finally hear Ripper, and because I've never heard any of that stuff before.
Yeah,
that'll be the last we talk about those 2.
No,
for me. I know for you. So that's where I am. But some of the newer stuff might end up on the list. We will see.
While we wait for Geoff, I understand you might have an unboxing for us right now.
I can.
Yeah, let's do it.
It's nothing real, out of the ordinary or unique. We'll see if I can do it quick. Usually these things are a lot easier to do. And all right, as you know, I have a series about to start.
Yes.
Since the Kiss series I'm done with it basically.
Right. Yes.
This is one for that Cheap Trick special one. That was one I'm missing from their collection.
That's one of the later albums.
Yep. And then of course I got a big old box.
Oh, sweet. Yes, Lana, I've heard the KK Priest track, and I don't want to be too harsh, but I didn't care for it. And unboxing, yeah. It's the first Jon Snow unboxing that we've done. Oh, it's more Cheap Trick. You can tell by the checkers.
And then their brand new album.
Oh, sweet. I've heard really good things about this album.
Yeah, it's really good. I've listened to it. I streamed it already because it came out a month ago and it took a month to get here. So I'm glad to have that. So they still look good.
That's awesome.
So yeah, like special one I don't think is on vinyl, so I had to do CD.
I am at a period in my life where I don't have any music incoming right now. I need to fix that.
Yes.
You do. I have a ton.
Well, let me just spend some of your money then.
Might have to. I have a hard time right now just coordinating deliveries and crap. Like, don't want any more parcels getting stolen, and I don't know where I'm going to be from week to week. So it's kind of a pain getting deliveries right now. But coffee, Nespresso. And here's something you've probably never seen before. Jarritos Strawberry Soda.
Nope. Never heard of that one.
Looking forward to drinking those tonight. Where are you, Mr. Geoff Steven? Good evening and good morning, says Chris. And Lana does not care for the KK priest. The opening
Sounds
riff
like a
sounds like a
cat
cat dying. Wow.
Yeah, it's a bit derivative of Nostradamus too. That
Very.
riff.
And I thought, they're obviously trying to do like a painkillery kind of vibe. And I was disappointed when I heard that Les Binks isn't on it.
Oh.
He was injured, I guess. Okay,
Oh.
here's Geoff. Hey, buddy, how are you doing?
Gentlemen, life is good.
Hey, Geoff.
Jeff from 1001 albums in 10 years, aka the Graph God.
That's an upgrade from Guy. I think last time I was the Graph Guy. So
I think Guru. I think I upgraded you to Guru at one point.
As long as it still has the alliteration, we're good. So.
But what's better, a god or a guru?
Agree.
Yeah.
This is the first time. This is the first time you've been with these two guys here, eh?
No.
No.
With Harrison,
right.
for Iron Maiden. My first time with John, though. That's awesome.
A question for John from Lana. How many of those Queen albums have you listened to so far? She's thinking of buying the albums because it feels like a crime not to have the album since they got her into rock.
I have 2 left in the series. So I've been through 13 of them.
Wow. Would you buy all 13 if you were Lana?
No.
Okay. I think you kind of need all 13, but that's just me.
Well, all 13? No. You need them because we're just obsessive that way. But a casual fan, there's 1 or 2 you could skip. Yeah.
Has anyone said you've got another thing coming yet? No, we haven't started yet, man. You're just in time. Just let's welcome Geoff to the show, the Graph Guru from 1001 albums in 10 years. Thank you for taking some time out of your night tonight, my friend.
Oh, it's great to be here.
So I have 2 questions for you to start. One is just where do you sit with Judas Priest? Are you a fan? Are you an appreciator?
As what was it? Abe Simpson said on The Simpsons, a little of column A, a little of column B. And
Fair enough.
I'm excited about this show because the only one I know so far is British Steel.
Okay.
So in that book, the 1001 albums you must hear before you die, that's the one that's in there. So I'm really curious as to if it's not only the important one, but also the best one. And so I'm keen to see where it ends up on the list and learn a little along the way.
Now, my second question is a tech support question.
Okay.
A few weeks ago, you sent me some Excel files, and I'm not 100% sure what I'm supposed to be doing with them.
Okay, no, we'll find out here. So I'll go to it's one of those things. It's sort of like doing your taxes where I have to relearn it once a year, that sort of thing. But I'm going to try sharing my screen with you, and that way I'll have the documents here, and we'll see if this semi cooperates.
Okay.
Computer. Okay. Moment of truth here. I'll try the entire screen. Okay. Nice. And is that showing my screen now?
I can still see your face.
Okay. Let's try. You're in the show room. Can see and hear you. That?
Wait, another screen has popped up. There it is. Another screen popped up. That's cool.
So here's and is it showing the Nigel Tufnel lists here? So here's the vision, and hopefully this will work as planned. So we've got the column. You've seen the LeBrain, Harrison, John T. Snow.
Yes.
Perfect. So the as we're going through, I'll enter in the album name for each one, and I've got it set up to do points. So I put these in randomly for now, but the vision would be for the 11th place on your list, that would get 1 point. Working all the way up to the first place album on your list would get 11 points, sort of the weighted scores there. And you'd end up with a bar graph that looks something like this, where if British Steel was your number 1 for everybody, that would earn the maximum of 33 points there. But this would start blank, and then we'd see where it goes from there. But it'll end up as a nice looking, looks like one still made it on. And then the other one, as things are going along too, what I was hoping to do was I have it set to link up with this slideshow. Is it on the yellow Google Slides there?
Yeah. Yeah, it shows a bar graph.
Oh, nice. And when I click present, is it going to a full screen here?
Looks like it. Yeah. Yeah.
And
We've
so
got a
this
black
will
screen loading. There it is. Yeah.
nice.
Yep.
And
Boom.
then what will happen is as I update the spreadsheet, it should give me the option to click an update button here, and it shows up in a much bigger resolution there. And then the other thing it might be too ambitious, but I'd like to try it, is to try and keep a running Venn diagram going too, because I'm keen to see, because there's 18 total?
Yes, I believe
Yeah.
18 was what I read. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So to see which of those 18 end up in that elusive middle section here, where all three of you agree it's Nigel worthy. So it'll be it'll be fun to see.
Oh man, this is going to be the best one yet.
Yeah.
Oh, are you guys psyched?
Yeah.
I am psyched. Well, guys, would you say it's time to start?
I think so.
Sure.
All right, let's do it. Where's the theme song? I got to cue up the theme song. We can't start without the theme song. Here we go. All right, let's rock.
Nigel, Tufnel. The top 10. Nigel, Tufnel. The top 10. Nigel, Tufnel. Oh, these ones go up to 11. Nigel, Tufnel. The top 10. Nigel, Tufnel. Nigel, Tufnel.
We lost Geoff somehow, but he'll be back. The show must go on. We can fill him in when he returns. I struggled a little bit with my list, but I decided pretty straightforward. There's Geoff back. Oh, buddy, you're just back in time.
Perfect.
All right,
Thank you.
so I struggled a little bit with my list, but I decided to take a completely different approach than last year, which was I was trying to be very conscious of things that are more objective factors, things like the impact of the album to the world at large. I decided this time to kind of go, which albums do I listen to the most? Because you can't get much more personal than that, and I got different results. My number 11 was Rockarola, the very first Judas Priest album. I listened to it again this week. It's not a great album. It's not. It has some great moments on it. It has some good tunes, Rockarola being the best. But it kind of ends up in my rotation a lot because I bought that album back in 1989, and it was with me for the summer of '89. And as much as Bryan Adams sings about the summer of '69, I would be doing the summer of '89 if that was my track. So that is my number 11, Rockarola. Over to you, Harrison, the whole and eclectic guy.
All right, so as you probably guessed with my list, I didn't give a shit about impact or what other people thought. It was all me. And so last time we did this, my number 11 was Rockarola. And this time it is also Rockarola. And it might seem like we have an echo here because I like Rockarola. It's not the best album, but it's got some pretty good moments, and I'll never not love the title track itself.
Yep.
Lana points out One for the Road
is another good one too.
Yeah.
If the Winter Suite was a bit more cohesive,
Yeah.
it would also be a bit better.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a little. I like Cheater, but it doesn't really need to be a part of the Winter Suite either, does it?
That confused me. Why it's so different than the rest of the suite? Why would that be part of it?
It was the early '70s, and you had to do something like that.
Because standing on its own, Cheater's great.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. Great pick. Whole and eclectic guy. I can't agree with you more. John, where does this leave you with your number 11?
Well, it's not Rockarola.
Darn it.
I know, that would have been funny.
That would have
I
been
had
funny.
3 that I was really on the fence about that just missed the list. They all have scored roughly the same score on my reviews. But they fell off. So my number 11 is one I'm not familiar with at all, except for the one listen. But that one listen really intrigued me because it is the concept album of Nostradamus. So just listening to it at one time, there was a lot on there that really, I was like, I actually might like this one. So this will get a lot more listens in I don't know, 6 weeks or so. And I have a feeling it might end up in my top 11 at the end. So I went ahead and stuck it in as my number 11, Nostradamus.
Foreshadowing.
I listened to it this week and I liked it, but I thought it was just a bit long.
It is. That's the only downside. 2 albums. What is it? 18 tracks or something?
Yeah, a lot of instrumentals.
Yeah, and I think I liked that part about it, the instrumental piece. And some of this, it was just real hard, real heavy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited to really start diving into that one.
Ouch. That's an ouch comment. Fine, I'm done with the Bryan Adams references. What is with the Bryan Adams hate? Geoff, do you have any insight to the Bryan Adams hate?
No, I'm team Bryan Adams.
Yeah,
me too.
I have no issues with the man.
Yeah.
Until I talked to some Canadians, I didn't even know that hating Bryan Adams was supposed to be a thing.
I didn't. I went and saw him in concert like 2 years ago. So
yeah,
it was great.
I've seen him twice.
My sister loves Bryan Adams. She's seen him a number of times, and there was that great joke in the South Park movie about. That was the first time I was aware of any hate for Bryan Adams, where Canada apologized for Bryan Adams prior occasions. Okay.
I think they have other musical artists they should be apologizing for.
Nickelback?
Oh, yes, that too.
Okay, well, Brian does have a good point here. 10 times a day on Canadian radio for 40 years. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so I don't think we need to see the graphs on this round. Let's just zoom right into round 2, shall we?
Yeah, sounds good. It's funny though, because Rock a Roller looks like it's out to an early lead, but it's very misleading.
My number 10 is an album that I rated much higher prior to this, and I've praised a lot. But Painkiller, and it only ended up at number 10 this time. Got to be honest with you guys and with myself, I don't listen to Painkiller all that often anymore. I listened to it this week. I enjoyed it. I loved it, but I wouldn't go back to it right away. It has that kind of a dead section in the middle where you've got Nightcrawler and the other one.
Hammer and the Anvil.
No, not Hammer and the Anvil. What end side one?
Where are my glasses?
Leather Rebel.
Leather Rebel and Nightcrawler kind of form like a dead
Metal
zone.
Meltdown.
Metal Meltdown, that's it. Yeah, that's like just takes a big valley right there in the middle of the album, and it doesn't make it very re-listenable for me when I'm listening to a massive Judas Priest. So that's why Painkiller ended up so low. I don't listen to it all that often anymore. Number 10. Over to you, Harrison.
Okay, this one's one of the bigger changes on my list. Last time we had Sad Wings of Destiny, but this time we've got, making an appearance on my list for a change, we have British Steel. And I've warmed up to a lot of the songs on British Steel. The problem is none of that has to do with British Steel, and all of it has to do with a little album called 98 Live Meltdown.
Yeah, it's a good album.
Because Ripper rules.
Okay. What did you think about KK's Priest?
Me?
Yeah. Ripper rules. What did you think?
I believe we had words about it earlier. I can't remember exactly what we said, but I mentioned it was derivative of Nostradamus. Didn't do much for me, but I was happy to see Ripper getting a more high-profile job and being in the public eye again. So I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
So are you running out and buying it?
Probably not, unless I get a taste of some other songs that make my opinion turn around.
Okay, all right. That's
Blaze has a new album out. My priority is on that one.
There's an argument to be made for that.
There's an argument to be made against that.
Yeah.
I'll make it later.
So British Steel. I keep wanting to call you the whole and eclectic guy. I'm trying to not read that and just call you Harrison because it's easier.
It would have worked. The nickname would have worked better last time because I was packing Holland's list.
Yes, you had a double list. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, your number 10, for the record, is British Steel. Okay.
All right, set.
Then
That
we're
goes
over
to me
John.
then. All right, from 1978, Stained Class.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, what was that?
He said,
Let's just say that in my review, I referred to it as stained ass, and I'll leave it at that.
I'm glad it wasn't higher on my list. For me, it was opening with Exciter, just it's kind of borderline speed metal. Plus, you got Les Binks on drums for the first time. The cover with the Spooky Tooth cover, Better Than You. Better by You. Me.
Yeah,
I love that one. And then the last song, Beyond the Realm of Death, I just love that one. It kind of takes you on a little journey, and it's got 2 solos. Anytime you get 2 solos in a song, I'll take it. So that's what I like. Number 10, Stained Class.
Brilliant. Well, why don't we take a look at some graphs this time?
Sure.
See what they look like. See what's shaping up.
Share the screen here. Share screen, good. Let's go for the last time I attempted to share the whole thing, and I think it panicked and was trying to process too much. So I'll try just the slideshow this time, and I think that should do the job.
Sure.
And hopefully come in here. Is it showing the graph?
Yes. Oh, by the way, Lana liked how you had the Judas Priest backing. If you didn't know that comment.
Nice. with some heavy transparency there. So these are our results thus far. A bunch tied with 2, but again, it's strange that the better they do at the beginning of this countdown,
right?
It's probably long term, it's not a great strategy.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
This is interesting. So the weighting of it is going to really. The graph is going to alter very, very much as we go through.
That's right. And I'll switch to the Venn here. And so far we've only had the one overlap so far, but I'll be interested to see if we start to drift into those circles that overlap between 2 or even all 3. So far, Rock and Roll is the only one to do it thus far.
So far.
Nice.
So far, that's right.
Yeah.
Sorry, 2 more things that I wanted to mention off the top, but forgot. We're going to be debuting during the mid-show break a new video by T-Bone that some of you have already seen, but we're going to do the show debut of T-Bone's new single, I guess we'll call it, Drinking Water from the Hose. And there's a story behind that song. And also just in the best efforts to conserve my battery and try to catch the actual sun going down, which would be closer to 9:30-ish. I'm not going to turn the tablet on until mid-show, and then we'll try to get some colors. That's what I'm hoping.
In response to hopping on a Bronze Legs comment about Ram It Down, I know I'm not picking Ram It Down, and I agree with you that it's their worst. And the only song worth listening to is Ram It Down.
I disagree. I solidly disagree with.
Well, you can put it on your list then.
And Hard as Iron. You know what? You're getting me off track.
That reminds me, though, in 98 Live Meltdown, Ripper's doing a song introduction, and he says this song needs no introduction. He's talking about Victim of Changes, and you can just hear someone in the background go, "Blood Red Skies."
Really?
Yeah,
I'm gonna listen
they didn't
to
play
that.
it, unfortunately.
And speaking of Ripper, hello, Kevin.
Boy.
I think Kevin's got a start to continue show tonight, so I don't think he'll be around for the sunset. But on to my number 9, the second appearance of this album now. It is Stained Class. And again, it's probably in a Martin Popoff kind of I know what the fuck I'm talking about kind of scenario. Stained Class would probably be rated a lot higher. But again, I'm kind of just doing this in the order that how I listen to them the most frequently, you know. But in Stained Class's defense, you mentioned Beyond the Realms of Death, which they've compared to their Stairway to Heaven in the past, and you can certainly hear that with the heavy light. It's a very raw album. I do like Les Binks's work on it. He's a fantastic drummer. I think that it could be a little stronger, Stained Class. That's one with Hero's End, I believe, right? Do I have that right?
Something. There is a song with Heroes.
Yeah, that's the last track.
Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't end on the greatest tune that they've ever written.
No.
There's a couple tunes in that album that you wouldn't. Is Savage? I don't know. Anyway, Stained Class, my number 9. Over to you, Harrison.
Right, Stained Arse is not going to have any more overlap for the rest of the show.
It's stuck where it is in that Venn diagram now.
Yes, very much. And Martin Popoff gave Virtual 11 a 0, so I don't think he knows what he's talking about.
What did Martin Popoff give a 0? Sorry,
Virtual 11.
You know what? You're getting us on to Blaze Bailey. You're getting us on to Blaze Bailey. You always get us back to Blaze Bailey. If you are on the LeBrain train, it becomes 6 degrees of Blaze Bailey.
How soon can I mention Blaze Bailey?
Well, apparently round 3. But over to you, Harrison.
Right. The first appearance, I believe. No, not the first appearance. The second appearance of a Reunion Era album. Not Nostradamus, but it is. Number 9 was before, at least back then and now, it was Firepower. And this almost made it to the number 8 spot. Firepower is a very solid, consistent album.
It is.
It's only got a couple of standout tracks, but man, do they stand out. Like No Surrender, Firepower, best 2 on the album.
I kept coming back to No Surrender, Flamethrower, and... yeah, no, that is a good album, and
awesome cover art too.
I didn't want to say this at the start of the list, but I'll say it now since Firepower's now come out. I was gonna put Firepower as my number 11, kind of tied with Rockarola, but I went with Rockarola because the truth is I do play it that much more frequently. Good one, Harrison. And Kevin disagrees with Harrison.
Of course he does. Everyone disagrees with me.
Over to you, John.
On that album, it's one of the better songs.
Yeah.
So, number 9.
Oh, this is good.
Another appearance of this one. You can't see it now because the sun. I'm gonna have to go close my blinds. Painkiller.
There we go. It's Painkiller. Yes.
Now I haven't got to this one yet.
Sorry, that's the cardboard mini sleeves that comes in that box set version.
It is. It's the ones for this box set.
Cool.
You know, I gotta have show and tell. So
yes.
I haven't reviewed this one yet. This is the next one on my list. I've listened to it enough, but yeah, I mean, I do like A Touch of Evil.
Yeah,
I like that song. I like Painkiller, and on Living Bad Dreams, I swear he sounds like Axl Rose, or sorry, Axl sounds like him.
Yeah,
depends what year is this. Oh, this is 90. Yeah, he sounds like Axl now, which isn't a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. But
I do like it. So I don't know if it'll go any higher once I finally dive multiple listens into it, but figured this was good enough. I really enjoyed it. There was a little, like you said, in the middle, it kind of does lull, but beginning and end is pretty good.
The thing about Painkiller is it is such a product of that exact point in time. You had the trial, which we all know how that turned out, but you can imagine the stress that puts on your band. They had the drummer change where they got rid of the guy who sucked and got a guy who didn't suck. And
had drummer problems, have they?
What's that? No,
they've never had drummer problems.
No, they've never been the Spinal Tap, the real life Spinal Tap for drummers. And they also, the environment at that time was you had a lot of these bands that were up and coming with new albums like Anthrax, Testament, Megadeth, and Metallica had won a Grammy award, a Grammy nomination. Jethro Tull won the Grammy award, but I believe they gave it to Metallica the following year for Stone Cold Crazy as kind of a consolation prize. But anyway, that was the environment at the time, and Priest they went thrash, as close to thrash as they've ever gone, and that was them, quite frankly, playing catch up. I like the album though. I don't think that Priest going thrash is a bad thing, but you gotta, even the most objective fan has to admit that it's Priest playing follower rather than leader on that
They
album.
were doing that a lot around that time.
Yes, they were. Yes, they were. Ram It Down. There's stuff on that album that sounds like Whitesnake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
and
pure
there's
glam.
Turbo, big following.
Turbo. Yeah. You know
Yeah, but
what?
Turbo's anyway. We'll get to
We'll
that.
get to. Don't worry, we'll get
Turbo's
to Turbo.
coming. Turbo's coming
Yeah,
up.
don't worry.
Geoff, where are we standing with graphs?
Excellent question. All right. Just have to jump through the hoops here. Window, tab. We're getting some nice overlap happening, which I always like. Here we go. So here's our bar graph thus far. We've got Stained Class, or Harrison's alternate name there.
Right.
Painkiller tied with 5, and again, surprisingly, that's what would that be so far? 9 total choices, but it's only ended up being 6 albums so far.
Yeah.
Because we've got some overlap here. So LeBrain, absolutely nothing that hasn't overlapped yet, and we're coming precariously close to that middle, but not quite yet.
You know what's interesting, Geoff? At the end of it, I think it's going to be the individual 3 circles that are going to be the more sparse of them, with a large cluster in the middle. But we'll see. You know,
It's gone. Sorry,
that was just Geoff doing it. I've never.
Yeah.
Usually I do it, but anyway. Without the title track Painkiller, the album Painkiller would have made a really good lamp.
We'll have some words about that one.
All right, boys, my number 8. We're starting to get into albums that I play more frequently, and I really enjoyed Sin After Sin when I played it this week. Lost an earbud. I think there's some really good deep cuts on Sin After Sin, and my favorite right now is Raw Deal. I think I've mentioned my love of that song before. It's just really, it's interesting rhythmically. You know, it's got some swagger to it. Excuse me. I've mentioned in the past, it's the only one where Rob very, very, very slyly references a gay lifestyle. And I think it's unique in the Priest catalog for that reason. And I'm fascinated that nobody caught that. Or maybe they did and I never heard about it. But Sin After Sin is a damn fine album. Harrison, we talked about Starbreaker. I still think it's corny. But it's good, you know. Good. It's a Starbreaker. You know, it's good. There's some good stuff on there. Last Rose of Summer is great.
There's nothing wrong with a little cheesiness or corniness.
No, that album needed something to lighten it up because it does get really heavy at the end with Dissonant Aggressor. Yeah. Which Slayer,
and Here Come the Tears as well.
What's that? Sorry. Here Come the Tears. That's such a heavy song.
Yeah. Speaking of it, what you said about it needing something, I like the album so much better when it ends on Race with the Devil, because rather than this, you know, heaviness, it ends it probably with some nice up tempo rock and roll.
Yes, I suppose they didn't want to do another cover, but it was a really good tune. That was a really good tune. Anyway, I've jammed on enough about Stained Class and Sin After Sin. Sorry. That's my number 8, Sin After Sin. Over to you, Harrison, the contrarian.
Alrighty. Last year, my number 8 was Demolition, and I assure you it has not gone down. But this time, it's Hellbent for Leather.
Okay.
And let me just say that I no longer consider delivering the goods to be filler.
To be what, sorry?
To be filler.
Filler, okay. Thank goodness.
I remember LeBrain balked at that one when he read it.
Because you'd be wrong. You were wrong.
Yeah.
It's not filler.
We agree on 2 things.
There you go. Skid Row covered Delivering the Goods on their Beside Yourself or Beside Ourselves or whatever it was called, EP. Their B-Sides EP. They covered it, Delivering the Goods. With Halford, actually. There you go. Over to you, John.
All right. My number 8. It's an album very similar to the one Harrison just mentioned. Mine's Killing Machine.
Yeah.
Or Hellbent.
You don't get Green Manalishi on that.
Yeah, does that have Green Manalishi on it?
That does.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
In the original vinyl of the Killing Machine version, Green Manalishi was missing.
Yeah, this has that plus the bonus tracks as well.
I don't know. I never thought about that.
You have bonus tracks, right?
Isn't Starbreaker gay lingo? I don't know. I never heard that.
No. Probably, but yeah.
I mean, I guess it could be, but I just thought of it more like a power thing. Like Rob Halford's very much about like powerful imagery, explosions, a lot of fire, a lot of nuclear, a lot of atomic. He loves that crap. He loves that crap. Sorry, John,
But
go ahead.
The thing,
No,
Uranus
that's
is a
okay.
planet anyway, not a star.
That's right.
No.
That's right.
For me
Very-
on this
very
one,
good.
of course, Hellbent for Leather, the green Manalishi. Is that how you say it?
Yes.
The Fleetwood Mac cover. To
Yes.
take that classic rock song and turn it into a metal track is pretty good.
Yes.
Before the Dawn, Deliver the Goods, of course.
Yeah.
And then I like Rock Forever.
Me
I
too.
think
I do too.
it's a little cheesy, but I really like that one.
I get a ZZ Top vibe from it.
Yeah.
It's got that shuffly kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good one, John.
I like Burning Up. I forgot to mention it. I
Oh,
really
that's
like that
another
one.
great tune. That is another great tune. I've said it before. I don't think there's a bad tune on that album.
I do, but that's me.
Of course.
That's
you
why
do.
it's my number 8.
I also will add, though, if we were doing a Judas Priest album cover artwork list, most of these would be at the very bottom. Like, that is, John, can you hold it up again? That is a really terrible.
No, that one's all right, actually.
I like this one better than some
I'm
of
going
their
to do the
others.
solo layout thing. Look at that. It's a mannequin's face with broken sunglasses and a leather-studded
Leather. Yeah.
belt.
I think
on his
that one's
head?
pretty good. What's
Eric.
funny is that Ram It Down, one of their worst albums, has one of the best covers.
No, it doesn't.
Yes,
No,
it does.
doesn't. My rendition of it is pretty good, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
And the other thing is that Point of Entry, the Sunset cover, would probably be one of my top Priest covers.
Interesting.
Wait a minute. The which one?
The Sunset one.
The Sunset one. Okay.
I like the roll of
the roll of computer paper.
computer paper one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tractor feed computer paper. I like that.
Yep.
Okay, so we've done that round. Jeff, let's take a look at some graphs, shall we?
Sounds good. Chrome tab, just share. All right. So we're moving along with those 2 8th place finishes.
Oh, no.
Killing now. A point of technicality there. That is the same album, Killing Machine, Hellbent.
Yeah.
Hellbent for
Okay.
Leather. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. The so that's just got 8 points out of nowhere there, which is great. I'm fascinated by these ones in the middle here.
Right.
Don't
We're gonna
worry
set up.
about those. Don't worry.
As somebody who's not too familiar with the group, I'm very curious if they'll stay around 0 or start to drift into the 10s or 20s. So that's something I'm definitely watching right now. And then the Ven, John and Harrison, you just had your first overlap there, and we are one. So we've got everything but the middle now.
We'll get them.
Sorry, I'm just
sure.
distracted. There's actual activity going on in the road, and I don't have the camera running yet. that is okay. So what I'm fascinated by here is that British Steel still has only appeared once. I'm surprised by that. I thought it would be lower ranking, but we'll see. We'll see.
Well,
I guess it's me next. Oh my goodness, it's British Steel, number 7. British Steel, number 7. It's the legendary album. It has Living After Midnight, Metal Gods. You get tired of the same old crap over and over and over again, and
That's what Ripper's for.
that's what Ripper's for. I think British Steel is overrated, personally. I really do.
I do too. But
Geoff, I have taken issue with the 1001 albums list in the past because they do tend to pick like one key album from a lot of bands, but it's not necessarily a key album that is a key album for musical reasons. Sometimes it's a key album for sales and hit reasons.
Yes.
And, there's no question British Steel was that. It did push them into a new level of success. And I'm not saying it's a bad album. I just think that with British Steel, they had 2 major changes, which is the first studio album produced by Tom Alam, and that changed the sound of the band. So did the addition of Dave Holland on drums. It made them a lot more rigid. I think the best word that you can use to describe 80s Judas Priest is rigid. There's no question that there was a certain looseness and swing and heft to the drums and the rhythms before they made those changes. And I think that's the thing that weakens British Steel the most. They simplified things too much. But hey, it does have those great songs on it. Metal Gods is still fun. It's still fun to listen to that. And for those playing at home, my favorite trivia fact about Metal Gods is that the sound of the Metal Gods marching is them banging a tray of cutlery on a counter at John Lennon's house where they were recording the track. It's cutlery banging on John Lennon's cutlery on John Lennon's counter. That's my favorite fact.
I think I might have mentioned it before, but it's kind of on topic. But Fleetwood Mac's Tusk, the song, in there was Mick Fleetwood was like hitting a piece of meat with a spatula, and there was like a tissue box being hit noises as well, just to make up the recording.
I remember watching, you guys might be familiar with it, the making of Metallica's Black Album. And they were trying anything in the studio just to get like different sounds, right? And one of the sounds that they didn't use to accompany the drums was them, James Hetfield cocking a shotgun. Just and I don't think that sound made the album, but it's just an example of them using anything at their disposal to come up with something that sounds interesting.
But for me, that's great to see British Steel so low, because that just means there's so much more to be heard. So that's encouraging for me as a new fan.
I believe that is an accurate description of the situation we are in.
Verbalizing the positive.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Guilty.
Harrison, you are up.
Alrighty, number 7. Last time we had Angel of Retribution, and this time we have Nostradamus. And now, if you remember, Nostradamus was very high on my list last time, and I still like it very much, but it's a bit of a faceless album in that when you look at other albums, you're like, oh, it's got this, and this, and Nostradamus, it's just Nostradamus. It's a bit more inaccessible, and I really love it. I really love the cover art, I love Nostradamus, but when I'm ranking and stuff, there's just a lot of big name songs on these other albums that just put them ahead of Nostradamus. And it was hard enough ranking it without having Nostradamus in like this top 6 to just sort of ended up there because it was easier.
I can tell you, I found when I played it this week a couple real standout tracks on Nostradamus, one of which was the title track.
Yeah, Nostradamus and Prophecy, of course.
That's great.
Persecution.
War is pretty good, I think.
I didn't like Death. Messenger of Death. Didn't like that one. And I love the one where he sings in Italian. I won't attempt to even mimic what he does there, but you know the tune I'm talking about. It's really dramatically, it's really melodic. Don Airey on keyboards, by the way, from Deep Purple on that album.
I love the album. Yeah, it's just, the track titles are, a bit bland. So it's very hard to, pick out moments. I mean, I suppose because it's a concept album, you'd rather have it as a whole album than a collection of songs. And, it is a long album and it's a double concept album. It's got fluff and all, but a double concept album isn't a double concept album without that fluff and that length.
Valid point. Good defense of Nostradamus, an album that I'm fond of. I like your list so far, Harrison. It's a great job. John Snow, over to you. Oh, just hang on. I just got a message from Mike Slayan. He just messaged me. Oh, you know what? He just messaged me now. I hope he's watching. Can I just stop everybody and just read Mike Slayan's Judas Priest list? Let's do this. Let's read Mike Slayan. Everybody here remembers Mike Slayan from the 2 shows we did, riffs of the 70s and riffs of the 80s.
Going to be a third.
He says, nobody asked, but too fun not to make a list. Turbo is it looks like his number 11. Hellbent, number 10. Sin After Sin, number 9. Oh, he put Unleashed in the East here as number 8, which is
It
technically
is a studio album, really.
Really? Yeah.
This is not a no disqualification. This is a full disqualifications. But anyway, he's not an actual participant, so we'll just continue. That is a live album, Harrison. Stained
No, it's
Class,
not.
Point of Entry, British Steel, Sad Wings, Screaming for Vengeance, Defenders of the Faith, and Hellbent for Leather is his number 1. Thank you,
Didn't
Mike
you
Slane,
have
for watching.
Hellbent for Leather?
No, that was
earlier?
Unleashed in the East.
I swear I heard you read it out twice.
Oh, actually, you know what?
I thought I heard around 10 as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
just
maybe
liked
he only
that
made a
one.
list of 10 and he's swapping some number. You know what? I'm getting kind of confused by his second message here. There's a second message and it's kind of confusing. But anyway, those are his albums in roughly the right order. You're getting an idea of where Mike Bland sits with Judas Priest. Unleashed in the East is not a studio album.
Yes, it is.
Sorry, John, go ahead, buddy.
Well, there's a couple instruments that are actually live, but everything else is studio.
Kiss Alive.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's no different than Alive 2, and every other thing.
When I did my song of the week for Hard Luck Woman, I put the Kiss Alive version as the other studio version. As John will remember that one.
Yes. Yeah.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Yeah. All right. Firepower.
Yeah.
Nice high ranking.
Yeah, well, for me, this was kind of, it's not a gateway because I knew Priest in the 80s. I saw the videos on MTV. But when they released this a few years ago, I was like, why have I not gotten into them? So it was kind of what started the idea of doing a deep dive into Priest. So I really like this one. Now, let's say when I go to do the review, it might drop lower. But for right now, just the last few listens and from what I remembered a couple years ago when it came out, I really like that one. Like you said, Firepower is great. No Surrender. It's just hard rocking from beginning to end. So I like that.
Now,
Yeah, all
everybody
of the-
here is jumping all over Unleashing the East. We can talk about Thin Lizzy. We can talk about Live and Dangerous. We can talk about Van Halen right here, right now. It's still a live album. That's what you call it. You don't put it in the studio album category. Okay.
Well, Unleashed in the East is one of the few live albums which are being, largely redone, where it's just so awesome that I just can't help but love the album regardless. The live album
Kiss
comes
Alive,
here.
man. Same with Kiss Alive. Jon Snow knows what I'm talking about. Kiss Alive is a freaking great album. It doesn't matter if it was recorded 3/4 of it in the studio. Doesn't matter.
No, it has the live vibe, and that's all that matters.
Yeah. I keep getting messages on my phone here. Okay, that's Mike. Hellbent is number 1. That's his clarification there. He only picked 10. But thank you, Mike. I really appreciate you watching. Way out there in San Diego. Right. See, like, Lana's got the point. Like, these live albums, they don't have new songs on them. It's not like they're new studio album. They're a live album.
Well,
Some live albums have a couple of studio tracks.
Yes, but you wouldn't call them
Benatar's Live from Earth. Oh, no, I wouldn't. Yeah.
You wouldn't call ZZ Top's, what was it, Fandango? Is that the one? You wouldn't call that a live album. The one that's half live, half studio. You wouldn't call Alive 2 a studio album.
Right.
Anyway, we're getting all tied up in semantics while Geoff is waiting patiently for us to stop yammering and get to the graphs.
Yes. I guess they're live-ish, I guess is the suffix there. So here they come. Firepower has joined a tie for the lead here. Still nothing in the middle, but I heard a couple on that list, so who knows? Yeah. Let's take a look here. And then the Venn diagram, Harrison and John, you guys have been having a lot of overlap lately, which is neat.
We did have a very similar entry to the band in a more or less a chronological album order.
Right.
Right.
And as you predicted, Mike, I think we may see this exodus from the individuals to the combined here. So
yeah, it's like we're seeing a migration from a rural lifestyle to an urban lifestyle.
That's right.
So I've got a rural one coming up.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, this is a good time for me to set up the sunset cam. Would you guys like to take a very, very short break?
Sure.
Okay. I'm going to play for you guys the brand new song from T-Bone Erickson while I set up my sunset cam and refill my coffee. So it's more about it's actually more about the coffee than the sunset cam. I'll be honest with you guys.
Still, this time seems like a good point of entry for the sunset cam.
Perfect segue, Harrison. Actually, perfect segue. But we are going to play the new song by T-Bone Erickson, who everybody here knows is the Paul Schaefer of the LeBrain train. He's given us so much great music. And this is a song that is inspired by Andy Curran and the interview that we did with him a couple months ago. We were talking about a song called Summertime from his band Caramel. And there's a reference in there about when you're a kid drinking water straight from the hose. And T-Bone was inspired, and he came up with this song. And as an added twist, Andy Curran himself has heard the song and has approved it. So very, very, very proud moment for Mr. T-Bone Erickson. Here is his brand new single. I call it a single. Brand new single, Drinking Water from the Hose.
Back in the station wagon, no seatbelts and away we go. Second-hand smoke filling up the cabin. Daddy's drinking but he's driving slow. Hitchhiking and we're in luck, riding in the bed of a pickup truck. From this childhood we all grew up. This used to be our reality. Slow right down so you can see the way the world once used to be. How we survived nobody knows. Drinking water from the hose. Play it outside beyond the yard. In the streets amongst the cars. All sunburned with a bloody nose. Drinking water from the hose. On the roundabout down at the playground. Get it spinning fast and then you climb. Running home faster than a greyhound. Dinner's cold and Mom said be on time. Shaking like a Polaroid. I'm so late and she's annoyed. When Dad gets home, discipline's deployed. Freedom with accountability. Slow right down so you can see the way the world once used to be. How we survived nobody knows. Drinking water from the hose. Play it outside beyond the yard. In the streets amongst the cars. All sunburned with a bloody nose. Drinking water from the hose. All over the halls, asbestos behind the walls, chicken pox and a running nose, drinking water from the hose, vaccine scars like tennis balls, boys had guns and girls had dolls, life was good, the story goes, drinking water from the hose, slow right down so you survive, nobody knows. Drinking water from the hose, lay it outside beyond the yard, in the streets amongst the cars, all sunburned with a bloody nose. Drinking water from the hose.
There you go.
Nice one, T-Bone.
Was that
was
great?
good.
Now,
That's great.
that brings back memories for me as well. We used to give my mom heck when we were kids, but my mom was a smoker. And, you know, we used to give her heck about the cabin of the car filling up with cigarette smoke. So, you know, it brings back memories. Please welcome to the show, Lake Cam. We'll be tuning into Lake Cam every once in a while to check out how the sunset's doing, but that's where we're at right now. Okay, so where did we leave off? Do we need to check out where we are graph-wise, or do we just go on to number 6?
I'd say keep going with number 6.
I think we looked at the graphs.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's right. We looked at the graphs because
Okay,
we got off topic, and then you were like, "Just get on with the graphs."
Yeah.
Oh, and yes, T-Bone actually wore that Spinal Tap T-shirt when we did the cover versions. Did he not? I can't remember.
Actually.
He either had it. I've seen it before. And yeah, always riding our bikes. Harrison had a great segue earlier when you were talking about a Point of Entry. Point of Entry is a really special album for me. It is my number 6. And I rank it higher than British Steel just because I play it more frequently. That's what this is all about for me this time. Point of Entry is an album that I got in Stratford, Ontario during the summer of, I want to say, 88 on cassette. Bought it at the local Kmart. I'm not even 100% sure. And I loved it. Like, Heading Out to the Highway, great tune. I knew that already from Priest Live. But then I discovered other tunes on there like Desert Plains. Wow, does that thing move? That thing has some rhythm to it. You don't give Judas Priest a lot of credence for creating grooves. Judas Priest is not a groove band. But that song does have some kind of pulse to it. That's the word I've always used to describe Desert Plains, a pulse. Yeah, that's a special album to me. Summer of 88, Stratford, Ontario, Kmart. Point of Entry, my number 6. I did this. I used to do this all the time, actually. Over to you, Harrison.
Right, I mentioned to have one of those rural ones. I severely doubt that this album's going to be showing up on any other list. Now, last year my number 6 was Hellbent for Leather, so that one actually dropped. And this year, it's Demolition. And I like Demolition a lot. It's perhaps 1 or 2 tracks too long, but there are some great tracks on there. You know, Jekyll and Hyde, Feed on Me, ending on Metal Messiah, you know, Machine Man, One on One. And then you got stuff like the softer stuff like In Between, Lost and Found. And then there's Close to You, the ballad. Like that one's in contention with like 3 other Priest ballads for my remastered ballads list. You know? I like Demolition a lot, and I wish I could get a physical copy. Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah. Is that one not in the box set, John?
Not in the box set.
Not in the box set.
Yep.
So the Ripper years are skipped over completely.
Yeah, because this is the original 4 guys.
Right.
Everything that the original 4 guys were on is what's in this box set. So it's not really the complete albums collection. It's the complete Rob, Glenn, Ian, and KK Downing collection.
So a little bit of misleading in the title there.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm just going to make a little public service announcement. If anybody wants me to take their copy of Demolition off their hands, I'll gladly do it.
Harrison, I had 2 copies at one point.
Yeah, you gave one to Aaron, I believe.
Yeah, actually, you know, I've had
many
3
years
copies
ago.
of that over the years because I bought the original when it came out, just the regular jewel case that John just showed us. Then I replaced that with the Digipack version with the black cover and embossed logo. And that came with the 2 bonus tracks. Rapid Fire re-recorded in 98, I guess it was. And Green Manalishi re-recorded in 98. And interesting thing, John, is that they slowed Green Manalishi down. It's distinctly slower and more grindy, which is not to my personal taste. So those were the bonus tracks on that one. But I already had those 2 songs on the Japanese CD single for Bullet Train. So I gave that copy of my Demolition to Aaron and replaced it with the Japanese version, which has a bonus track called What's My Name, which is, I guess, a reference to the way Ripper introduces his title song live, which is The Ripper. And he introduces it by saying, "What's my name?" And the audience goes, "Ripper." And then he goes, "The Ripper." And they go into the song. So, yeah.
That's cool.
Good one, Harrison.
I
Think you're nuts, but I love you anyway.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
No, you know what? I think if I may be serious, as a comedian in complete seriousness, what you bring to the show on the episodes you're on is such a great spin. And I love when I get to do that with you. Like, we need a contrarian.
Yeah, my tagline will be something along the lines of, like, I'm not boring.
No, he's not. There's nothing about boring, this guy. Meanwhile, Jon Snow is the expert at show and tell.
Yes. All right.
And catching sharks, great whites.
Oh, yes.
Richard Dreyfuss.
I think there for a second. All right. I'm hopefully, I don't know if this one will come up this again, but Turbo.
Ah, yeah, there it is. Turbo.
Make it big for scale.
Do the solo layout. Beautiful.
Yes. Turbo.
Beautiful.
You know, they did go to a very different sound, threw in a lot of synthesizers. But, you know, it's just catchy and it's just really good. I mean, I like Turbo Lover. I like Private Property. The Private Property one, I always think the opening of it, it really sounds like the Tubes.
That
Yeah.
So when I heard that,
oh, thank you. Would you like to say hello to the world, or
I'll say hello to the world.
there's
Hello
Jen
to the world.
bringing me my coffee?
Yeah,
Where's
I'm
our
his
coffee?
bringer?
Oh, John asked where his coffee is.
Tim Hortons.
Oh, there you go. Did you hear that?
we don't have those down here.
She can't hear you because I got the earbuds on. But John says we don't have those down here. He's from North Carolina.
Oh, Starbucks, that poor unfortunate.
Starbucks.
Thanks, sweetie. Love you tons. Awesome. All right, I'm good to go.
We have neither of those down here.
So they're
You
doing
don't have
okay for
Starbucks?
themselves.
I don't. Maybe we do like one or two in some of the more populated cities. I do remember seeing one in Canberra, but in Perth, probably not. Lana!
Sorry?
Find out when you're done.
You got it.
Lana!
I think Lana needs a talking to here.
Yeah,
She said she was
Lana!
Yeah.
I
Go
might be
ahead.
contrarian, but Lana is hardcore. I think I remember in one of the comment discussions I had with her, Painkiller was not heavy enough, according to her.
Yeah.
If I
would
remember
like to
correctly.
comment on that a brief moment, actually. And I'm sorry I keep going sideways on this. I
It's
apologize.
fine.
Thank you. I remember when Painkiller came out, and I bought it the week that it came out here, actually, in Kincardine. And I went to school the next week, and one of the guys in my math class, algebra, asked me how the new Priest was. And I answered him, not that heavy. And the reason I answered that is because the single Painkiller had already been out for a while. And as we mentioned before, they went borderline thrash on that thing. But the rest of the album isn't like Painkiller for the most part. And Halford doesn't scream like that on the rest of the album for the most part. Nobody, humanly, it's impossible, right? Like, it can't be maintained humanly. But
Painkiller was the last time he had that voice, basically.
Right. And live, it wasn't easy to maintain that.
It was a shell of what it was, the live versions, yeah. I'm starting to think that Halford is like Samson, because, you cut off his hair, he loses his power. Because, Ram It Down tour, the peak of his live voice, he had a ponytail.
That's true.
And then he was bald on the Painkiller tour.
Good observation. I think that we could write a thesis about Halford Samson parallels. I really, really, really... we got a new contrarian competing for the spot. I guess she's looking for a job. Kincardine had a record store, sort of. It was... No, actually, you know what? Yes, it did. this particular time, Painkiller, I did buy at the Kincardine record store on Queen Street. There was also a Radio Shack that sold records, and a store called Stedman's where you could buy tapes. But I bought Painkiller at the actual record store. Sorry, I've lost track of where we are. As host of the show, it is not my responsibility to keep track. It's just my responsibility to keep talking. Where are we, my friends?
You've all done your number 6, so if you're ready for a
Let's
recap.
do some graphs.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Let's go back to this one. Present. So here is the column graph. Still, what's that? Sad Wings, Screaming, Defenders. I know there's a few still shut out, but
Right.
overall that's where we're looking here. And then over to the Ven. We're back to everything but the middle.
Interesting.
Demolition's not leaving
I'm surprised
that spot,
we
is it?
haven't.
No, it's not.
I'm really surprised. That's interesting. I'm really surprised that we're not there. And let's take a look at the old lake cam. You can look at that, guys. That is my scenery right now, boys. It's a shame you can't see the actual lake.
You can see the Australian sunrise on my face, reflecting off the fence.
Isn't that amazing that it is setting here and rising on your face? What a connection we have here, gentlemen. This is the 21st century. So we are into the number 5 round, and I am going to... No, I'm not. I'm not going to make any last-minute changes. Sad Wings of Destiny. Here's something funny about my history with Sad Wings of Destiny. As you guys, Harrison and John, you guys are probably aware, the first 2 Priest albums were released on a different label, Gull Records, and they suffered from numerous very poor quality reissues over the decades. The worst of which that I ever encountered were these 2 cassette tapes that I bought at the Kitchener Farmers Market in the summer of, I guess it was 89, the same summer I bought Rockarola. And I bought 2 cassette tapes that had a defect, one of which was the best of Judas Priest, the compilation, and the second of which was Sad Wings of Destiny. And both of them were mono. Only had 1 channel. They were unlistenable. So it took me a few years to get a good quality copy of Sad Wings of Destiny, and it was worth it, obviously. But man, I had this real unfortunate origin with that album where I just wanted it to be good and wanted to play it and wanted to hear it, but it was just unlistenable, And I paid $10 for those 2 tapes, $10 each. I also bought in the same shot, Unleashed in the East, but that was a proper CBS cassette tape, so no issue. Win some, lose some. Anyway, Kitchener's Farmers Market tapes, not always of a solid origin. That's my very long-winded number 5, Sad Wings of Destiny. I like this song too. Yeah, I like that one.
We'll get to that soon.
Brian likes my pick. Lana.
I agree with Lana.
Lana and I might have to have some words.
Yeah, we might have to have a chat.
Harrison, over to you, my friend.
All right. Nothing to make you blow your stack this time, but I was interested in what you had to say about Jugulator. A shame you weren't going to do last-minute changes, but okay.
We can talk about Jugulator.
No, I was just joking there. Anyway, number 5 last year was Painkiller. Now it's Sin After Sin. Sin After Sin will always have a special place in my heart because it was, as I was going chronologically, the first Priest album that I properly, truly liked all of it through. And I have just continued to like it. I got the version which has Race with the Devil, and I think that makes the end of the album so much better. I love that cover. One of my favorite songs on the album, Starbreaker, as you know. And Here Come the Tears. I like to describe that song as like the entire like experience and story of Pink Floyd's The Wall compacted into 5 minutes.
What a take. I really like the gothicness of the vocal. Like you can almost hear Rob Halford's like church upbringing there with the "Here they come." You know,
it builds to this like inevitable end, and then it just comes crashing down. That's probably where the war action comes, because it has that crumbling at the end.
Yeah, and then it fades into Dissonant Aggressor as that kind of chiming. It almost sounds like a chiming sound, and it builds and it builds and it builds, and then you can hear more of a chugging sound into the scream, the opening scream. See, Brian is also from KW. That's cool. So he knows what I'm talking about. There were always at least like 1 or 2 vendors selling cassette tapes. There you go. There you go. Brilliant comparison. Over to you, John T. Snow.
All right. We're at number 5.
Yes, sir.
And I know a lot of people, y'all are probably going to say it's too high, but I do like British Steel.
There it is.
So,
there it is. All right. I'm going to do a zoom in there.
Ready to zoom in? Okay.
For scale.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So for me, this is just, it's the start of the sound of Priest that I knew from middle school and high school. And so I like that style. Grinder, I like that song. Sounds like AC/DC.
You're the first person in the world I've ever met who said Grinder. I like that song.
I love Grinder. I love Grinder.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
With Ripper on vocals, though, only.
Oh, of course.
Same goes for Rapid Fire, Metal Gods, Breaking the Law. I'll stop stealing John's spotlight.
With Metal God, you told the Cutlery story. I had that note just in case that hadn't been told yet. So, because that's a classic part of it.
It is a classic, yeah.
Yeah. And then I like the song Steeler.
Steeler's a good one, yeah.
I mean, it just feels like you need to be in the car just doing 100 miles an hour down the highway.
Yeah, that song has a real blazing tempo.
So, and there wasn't much on there I didn't like, so that's why it's number 5. It's just it's the start of the sound the 80s sound that everybody knew.
I don't think that's a drawing on the cover, though. I think that is a photographic cover with the razor blade.
No,
show that again?
Yeah, it's a photograph, I think.
It's probably just a really dull razor blade. Or it could be just a sheet of aluminum. Who knows?
Yeah, they could have just got a custom piece and not sharpened the blades on it, because it does have that like.
Well, look at the size of it.
Out.
That's not a razor blade that you shave your face with. That is probably just a piece of aluminum or something. It could even be cardboard painted silver. Art departments are very, very creative. Oh
yeah.
Hang on. Okay. Well, you know what? It looks like a photograph, and I know there's a lot of very photo-real paintings out there, but
I think the blood would have been a lot better.
But you could see how some mom and pop or maybe even major chain stores would say, "I'm not stocking that."
Yeah.
Especially in the 80s. Tipper Gore hadn't gotten started yet, but she was about to. Geoff, where are we on the grass, my friend?
Good question. I never actually stopped sharing it last time. So
so I can just hit it. I can just hit it.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, there's the vent.
Does it work better? But if I go present, that should still work better, though.
They'll do full screen, yeah. So we now have a center vent. British Steel.
Oh, yes, that's right. So actually, yeah, it's a good idea to start. So, John, you said, I'm sorry I like British Steel, but I'm thrilled you like British Steel because that means we're finally in that middle section.
That also means that British Steel, the highest it's going to rank tonight is number 5.
That's right.
So,
which means it's maxed out at 14 points as well.
Right.
Yeah. So it gets the approval of all 3, but at not necessarily at the highest possible score, because that's 14 out of a possible 33.
So if I may make some sportsman-like projections here, I'm predicting big things for Screaming for Vengeance and Defenders of the Faith.
Yep.
I'm predicting no votes for Ram It Down. And it's yet to be seen what's going to happen with those other 2. There could be a surprise, but I don't think we're going to see Ram It Down on any list tonight. That's my prediction.
Okay.
Thanks, Geoff.
Yeah,
even I'm not that contrarian.
Yes.
Let's take a look at the sun. Oh man, we didn't get in the water today. Maybe tomorrow. Okay. He likes Grinder, which was the B-side to Breaking the Law. I didn't know that. British Steel was a nationalized industry in the UK at the time, so it was kind of a cool title. I wonder if they were going to call it Chorus in 97. I guess maybe British Steel maybe changed their name to Chorus. Is that what that means? They got bought.
Probably.
Okay, so that's the end of that round. We're heading into the top 4, and we're going to be talking about an album that I believe it made John's list earlier. And it's one of my personal favorites, and it's an album called Turbo. And I want to, is that a bird in the lake back? There are birds in the lake, but I don't think you can see them from my lake cam, Lana. I don't think you can see them. But yes, there are birds in the lake. Turbo was a special album for me. You know, it was kind of like the dawning of my metal discovery, and it was the new Judas Priest at the time. And I knew, you know, I was well aware it was different because I already had Defenders of the Faith, and I already had Screaming for Vengeance. So I was well aware it was very different. But I was really intrigued by that synthy sound. It's cool, you know. Let's face it, it's the 80s, and that was the thing to do. But I think what Priest did there, by using only guitar synths and no keyboards, it's all guitar synth. Everything there is played by a string. I think what they did there was create a really unique sound. And that opening whoosh to Turbo itself is so cool. That's a powerful song. Turbo rules. There's some good tunes on it. There's a couple I would skip. Rock You All Around the World is probably a good solid skip.
No.
And over the years, I've kind of gotten sour on, I guess Private Property would be the one that I've gotten the most sour on. Just, Love, Hot for Love, that kind of a burner. Love Wild Nights, Hot and Crazy Days.
Yeah, the singing
when I was
on
a
that.
kid,
Sorry.
I was going to say, when I was a kid, you know, sitting in that bedroom right behind me playing Wild Nights, Hot and Crazy Days with the sunset coming down, we just finished running around and swimming for the entire day. Man, that album is so important to my youth.
The singing on Wild Nights reminds me of Brian Johnson in AC/DC.
Really?
It's got that. So yeah, it's got that. It sounds very much alike.
The way that his voice when it goes high.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I'd never made that connection, but it doesn't mean you're wrong. Lana is disagreeing with me in Private Property. Yeah, but Lana, I've been playing that album for, what is it, 35 years? 35 years I've been playing that album? You gotta cut me some slack there. I've heard Private Property a few times over the years. Big shout outs also to Out in the Cold and Reckless. Over to you, Harrison.
Right. Last year, number 4 was Sin After Sin. You know, that was what I had for number 5 this time. Last year, number 5 was Painkiller. This time, number 4 is Painkiller. And Painkiller is crushingly heavy. And I love so many of the tracks on Painkiller, including Nightcrawler. Thank you very much. You know? There is like, you know, Painkiller coming in at number 4 on my list. Like, the second Judas Priest song I ever heard was Painkiller. And it almost turned me off the band forever. It was my least favorite Judas Priest song. So the fact that Painkiller can make it so high on my list with that song on it is a testament to the rest of the album. You know, stuff like Between the Hammer and the Anvil, A Touch of Evil, it's just crushingly heavy, pure metal.
Sorry, I just wanted to spotlight the fact that the sun is like setting right in my face right now. Harrison, I respect you very, very, very much. And I think you are rating Painkiller too high, but it's your list, buddy. And I respect you.
I'll wait till we get to the next one.
Nightcrawler, though, really, I can't say I've ever really cared for that song.
No, I like it a lot, actually.
Well, okay, whatever. I don't interfere with my guests' lists. I can't disqualify you. Over to you, Mr. Snow.
Okay, so growing up with the 80s, never hearing the early Priest albums, it was so different than what like rock and roll, it was more classic rock. It wasn't really metal sounding. But then when they got to Sad Wings of Destiny, I really, oh man, I just love this album.
Yes.
And my track listing is different. Mine starts with Prelude and Tyrant, and the second half is Victim of Change and those songs. But the Victim of Change is one of the best songs they've ever done. Then when you go into Ripper, I don't want to hear it from Ripper. I prefer the Halford version. But that's just the coolest song too. Deceiver.
Yeah.
It's, very Sabbathy sounding. Speed metal.
Love Tyrant.
Oh, he likes Tyrant.
Yeah, there's just so many on here that are good. The only one I didn't like was Epitaph. That's the only song I didn't really care. Yeah. But I like everything else.
I'm surprised.
Yeah. I don't know. There was just something. It just didn't connect with me like the other songs did. It felt a little boring.
Okay. Fair enough.
But outside of that, I just think this is, because another early one's going to come up, but it won't be rock and roll. But yeah, this is great.
I love that it's so high on your list, John. Sad Wings is a remarkable album. It really is. And that whole Deceiver duo is just epic, man. Yeah. I played that in the car like twice in a row this week. Killer.
I just play that side occasionally, just those 4 songs, because I just want to hear those 4 songs.
That is a case of an album. Well, that is the original side 1. That is an album with a much better side 1 than side 2.
Yeah.
Geoff, I'm going to put up the graph on the screen.
Perfect. So
the graph is.
We've had some movement here. Painkiller joins British Steel in the middle.
There it is.
The Venn diagram is sort of like a black hole in that, slowly but surely they're coming in towards the center.
Yeah.
I predict there's one album there that is going to stay in Harrison's circle.
I predicted that too.
Yeah.
I see, Geoff, I see Sad Wings is still appearing in my solo circle, but should not be.
Good call. Yes, it's double counted there. You're absolutely right. Yeah. I'll edit that in a sec. And what I found interesting with this one too is that Sad Wings only has 2 votes, and yet it is the most points. And even though Painkiller was on all 3, because it scored relatively low on a couple of the lists, it actually maxed out at 13 there.
Wow.
So
I can tell you Sad Wings is not getting any higher.
No.
That's unfortunate. So we have 2 albums that have peaked, right? We have British Steel and Painkiller have both peaked.
That's correct.
And they've peaked at roughly the same kind of ballpark there.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, hang on. Pedestrians. There we go. Cool. I maintain my prediction that we are about to see some serious domination by the middle 2 albums there.
Yeah. They've been quiet so far, but we shall see.
Sad Wings needs to be on all the lists, says Brian, and he is correct.
Nope.
Lana, I can see Harrison holding back when John says he doesn't like when Ripper sings the Ripper.
And I always say that just because I know he does.
I'll admit that Ripper's version of Ripper is unlike, Hellbent for Leather Breaking the Law. It's not the definitive version.
Right.
I think Halford's version is definitive. 1988 would be my favorite version of Ripper.
And that would be from a YouTube.
Yeah, that one of the ones that appeared on my bootleg list.
And this is to further your point that Rob Halford was peak vocal in 1988 on the Ram It Down tour.
Which is why I'm pissed we didn't get a 30th anniversary or just an anniversary edition with a Ram It Down tour show.
I just had a memory.
I'd buy the album for that.
Sorry.
I'd buy the album just for a Ram It Down tour show.
I hope that they do it. I mean, regardless of the fact that Ram It Down hasn't made much impact on the list tonight, I would still buy a deluxe edition with a Ram It Down live set. Absolutely. They should.
Well, we rammed the album straight down to the bottom.
Absolutely. I was going to say I had a memory from that time. which is not from that time, actually, from when I was just a younger fella getting into metal. And somebody asked me what I liked, and I mentioned Judas Priest, and he said, Judas Priest are just a bunch of hippies. And that confused me because I'm like, wait a minute, hippies, doesn't that mean those long-haired guys? But Rob Halford's got the short buzz cut because this was around the time of Defenders when he had the Julius Caesar haircut.
Yeah,
and so I was very confused. Like, how could Judas Priest be a bunch of hippies when the singer's got the short hair? Like, he's known for the short hair. Very confusing. Very confusing.
Yeah,
Ripper Owens is the Gary Sharon of Judas Priest. Oh.
Notably, to further my point about that, the Defenders tour was when he had the short hair and it was the worst voice. And then the Turbo tour, it started getting longer.
Yes, that was also before Rob Halford completely cleaned himself up.
Yeah, he was also
that's the reason why his voice got good,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
It's a shame that it happened after the Defenders tour, where they played 10 of the 11 songs from that album.
True. John, I'm going to direct this question directly at you because we were talking about this. Ram it down. It would help if they got rid of the cover of Johnny Be Good. Would you have a comment?
Yeah, it might have made the list if it was not, that song wasn't on there.
Yeah, there is a rule that says if Judas Priest or ELO covers your song, it becomes their song unless your name is Chuck Berry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that cover of Johnny Be Good is something else.
It just needs to go, 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 go. Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of go, I guess it's my number 3. It's my turn for number 3. And I'm picking the North American version of Hell Bent for Leather with Green Manalishi with the 2-prong crown. It's a great album. I keep coming back to it. I don't think there's a weak song on there. Les Binks rules. He's probably my favorite drummer in Priest overall. I think Delivering the Goods is fantastic, and I love every little yow. I love everything he does in that song. Is it a flawless Judas Priest album? Damn, I think Hellbent might be damn close to flawless. Really, it really might be. I don't like the cover. I think the cover's kind of dumb, but Hellbent for Leather, my number 3. Again, got it in 1989 in that same farmer's market buying spree. I spent $40, got 4 tapes, and I'm struggling to remember what the 4th tape was. Might have been a Dawkins. No, that was a later year. By the end of the show, my goal is to remember all 4 tapes I bought that day. Over to you, Harrison.
All right, this one's a bit out of left field. It's jumped the most out of all the albums on my list, and as per tradition, I open it to guesses once a show. So, would you like to guess which one is my number 3?
Yeah, Angel of Retribution.
You're too good. Or I'm too predictable. Yeah, it was Turbo last year, but it's Angel of Retribution. I really, really love Angel of Retribution. It's one of the most varied in their discography in terms of style. You've got some great traditional metal in like Wheels of Fire, Deal with the Devil. You've got that more psychedelic, heavy sort of Zeppish thing on Revolution. You have Judas Priest doing Bon Jovi and Worth Fighting For, doing it better, arguably.
Yeah, I'm going to do John on the solo layout while you talk.
You've got like Angel and what's the other ballad one that's the second last track? It's
Worth Fighting For.
No, not Epitaph. It's like a eulogy. Not you. Yeah, eulogy.
Oh, yeah, that instrumental. Yeah.
No, that's not an instrumental.
Oh, you're right. He does have those.
Yeah.
There are some lyrics in there. Yeah.
Yeah, there was like only like 1 or 2 songs on Angel of Retribution where I'm just like, and it's not Loch Ness because I like Loch Ness.
I know you do. I would like to discuss Loch Ness real quick.
Yeah. Anywhere else on the album, and I would be like, but ending it's fine.
So let's discuss Loch Ness real quick, just to seek out some objectivity. John, what did you think about Loch Ness?
Too long.
Sorry?
It's about 7-8 minutes too long, Loch Ness is, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like 15 minutes or something like that.
13. Unless you get the extended
that album
mix.
Goes, I do
Angel,
like that.
Yes.
I do like it, and I just haven't spent enough time with it.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see where it ends up once I finally get to spend a lot of time with it. But I did enjoy that one.
Sorry, go ahead, Harrison.
Rob Halford owes me a writing credit for fixing the lyric of his song. You remember in your deconstruction of it, you mentioned like malingers isn't the proper word. It's supposed to be malign.
That's what I thought, but he clearly says malingers, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be. What he says is different.
Yeah, he made up a word. He has a habit of making up words.
Well, it's not made up, but it's just the wrong word.
Yeah. Speaking of making up words, I was thinking back to Painkiller on the song Hell Patrol. He makes up that word. Right. So I kind of, just today when I was cooking my dinner, cooking my steaks on the barbecue, I realized, wait a minute, paratomize. He's trying to say atomize you and paralyze you in one word. So paratomize you means he's going to paralyze you and atomize you. Just hit me today after 30 years of listening to that song. Anyway, good pick, Harrison. I wanted to comment on that album that I felt what they did with that. I mean, it clearly was not a continuation of the Demolition sound. Clearly, in no way. They dropped that sound like a rock. But what they did was they took themselves back in time to a variety of different Priest styles. Like Revolution is very much the early 70s. That could have been on Sin After Sin.
One of the other things I like about Angel of Retribution is they really lean into like the guitar harmony a bit more. Priest aren't known for it, but whenever they use it, like in Sinner, they use it sparingly, but it hits really, really well.
Maybe the fact that KK and Glenn, turns out they didn't really like each other all that much, meant that they didn't spend a lot of time together working out dual guitar solos all that much. I don't know. I'm just speculating. But that was a surprise that's kind of come out through KK's book, that him and Glenn did not get along really as people. Interesting. Over to you, John.
All right. We're going to go with another early one.
Okay.
Sin After Sin.
Look at that. Look at that. The last album with that logo.
Yep. Man. This could end up being number one day for me. I just really like the sound. Especially, Sinners opens up. It's got a deep purple kind of vibe. Of course, they've got the Joan Baez cover, Diamond and Rust.
Right.
Which
great cover.
Did not know it was a cover because they did it so well. Starbreaker, real bluesy song, kind of like that. And then, of course, Dissident Aggressor. We've already talked about Here Comes the Tears. That's an epic song. I even put the goth comment because it's got that goth sound. But Dissident Aggressor, I mean, Halford Scream at the beginning. It's just classic.
Unreal. Yeah. Good stuff, John. Do I have anything to add about Sin After Sin? I'm trying to think here. I don't think so. I think we've tapped that one pretty fully. Now, I believe that one was Simon Phillips on drums. It's if I'm not mistaken, the only album with Simon Phillips on drums, and he was kind of a fill-in drummer, basically. He wasn't an official member.
Yeah, he couldn't do the tour or something.
Right.
So he only did the album. If I'm not mistaken, if that's the album.
As far as, you know what, why don't we just Google it so that we're not giving the people the wrong information. Well, but as far as drum talent goes, I believe that Simon Phillips is by far the most talented guy that Priest have ever had behind that drum stool.
Wasn't he just a session drummer?
Yes. Simon Phillips played drums on this, but apparently Les Binks played drums on... Oh, sorry, that's the bonus track. Okay. Race with the Devil was with Les Binks on drums.
That was Stained Glass Sessions, wasn't it?
Must have been. The bonus tracks on these Priest albums are all jumbled. And it's kind of a pain in the butt.
They broke up, how you got the 30th anniversary Defenders, they got that live show. They broke that up and spread that across everything. They got like most of the turbo leftovers and just spread that everywhere.
Right. That's annoying because they could have easily done a Twin Turbos, the full proper reissue.
It'd be worse, though, than original Turbo, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's still something of collector's value.
True. There is like the double album version of those secret messages that people want to. But that's off topic.
One of those records that will never come out the way that it was originally envisioned. And at this point, I think that there's 2 tracks from Twin Turbos that were never released as bonus tracks on anything.
Yeah.
So I have a sneaking suspicion that they probably don't survive, or at least in a releasable condition. That's just speculation on my part. Geoff, let's take a look at some graphs.
Sounds good.
All right.
We've got some company now in that middle overlap.
Yep, there we
So
go.
it started with just British and Painkiller. Now Hellbent and Sin After Sin have joined the party there. And I think I remembered to delete them elsewhere. Yeah. Then over what I find interesting is over in the bars. So they've so Sin After Sin is maxed out, but it's the first to hit 20. And what were the other ones that? So British Steel's maxed out, Painkiller's maxed out, and Sin. What was the?
Probably Hellbent for Leather looks like it's
Hellbent.
maxed out.
Yeah.
Sad Wings 2 is maxed out.
Yeah, but only because you revealed that.
You're
You prematurely revealed that to us.
Yeah.
Demolition is maxed out as well. Angel of Retribution's maxed out.
We may have seen all we're going to see of some others too.
I'm going to say Point of Entry is probably maxed out, but John could surprise me here.
no.
You never know.
I've seen
You never know.
Review.
And here's where we are. We're starting to see some color in the sky.
Nice.
You can start to see that red pouring through the trees. I'll be going down to the beach later on tonight after the show. Oh, and can you see my little Canadian flag at the side of the driveway there?
Yep.
Anyway. Okay. We're about to head into the top 3. How are you guys doing for time?
Top
Great.
2.
What I'm trying
as
to
well.
do is just catch as much of the sunset as I possibly can. So I'm extending the show.
Oh, by all means, extend away.
So if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to go do a quick check on my wife, make sure she's doing okay. And I'm going to play another video.
Sounds good.
What do you guys want to hear?
I don't advocate drugs. Is
that what you want to hear?
Really loving lately. I'd love to hear
Okay.
that if no one else objects.
Works
Sure,
for you.
Max the Axe. I don't advocate drugs. I just got to find it in my list. There it is. Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick gen check. And in the meantime, please enjoy Max the Axe.
Even though they can be fun, I
Been loving that one recently.
You're on mute.
Mhm.
There we
We're
go.
The horns speak for themselves, though. That's okay.
Yeah.
And we put the hat on, so you know we're getting serious.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I may just do a quick obligatory Max the Axe appreciation. Max is one of the best songwriters I know of because he's isolated exactly what is essential to a good song, and he's jettisoned everything else and turned the good stuff up to 11.
I am so happy to hear you say that, Harrison. I wish Maxie was watching right now. Sorry, I'm fiddling with my phone here because Frank Toms in the comments earlier was asking to see my mom's tree. So if you'll just give me a moment here, we'll put the tree cam back on, and we'll show you my mom's tree because it's nice. It's a nice tree. It's a really nice tree. Pardon me, folks. This will just take a moment.
We can just look at Pulse going off in the background.
Your copy of Pulse there.
It's the most reliable thing here. The most reliable piece of technology here.
Bear
It's
with
too
me a
bad you
second
can't
here.
hear my cat snoring over there. So,
There's my mom's tree.
Hmm.
Isn't that nice how it's all lit up there?
Yeah.
It just lit up just now. Great tree. That's my mom's tree. Oops. I don't need to be on solo layout. I'm not that. How do I get myself? Oh, wait. What's going on here? Okay, there we go. Sorry.
Back.
That was a derailment there briefly. Hey, Frankie's still watching, so that wasn't in vain. Glad you like it. And yes, where I am right now, it's famous for beautiful sunsets. Look at you can see my shadow behind me.
Yep.
Check this out. You can see the orange pouring through the sky right now. But it's just too darn bright to get a clear image of the water, which is unfortunate. Anyway, I've yammered on enough. Let's go into the top two. This is where we're going to see a couple of albums dominate, and the first one is Screaming for Vengeance. It was my second Judas Priest album, so I've had, the second most time spent with it. And ironically, when I got it, I didn't like it. I thought it was just too darn heavy, too fast. I played it once and was ready to give it away to the next door neighbor, but thought maybe
relate to that.
Right, yeah. I thought maybe I'll hang on to it, give it another chance, and slowly but surely, by the summer of '86, I really was in love with Screaming for Vengeance. In particular, Devil's Child, Take These Chains, and Bloodstone. Great tunes. Great tunes. And I can't say enough good stuff about Screaming for Vengeance, except for maybe the title track is maybe a little bit tuneless. Would that be fair to say? Tuneless? Anyway.
yeah, it's just not as exciting as the rest.
Not as exciting? I don't know if exciting is... I mean, it's
kind of
super fast.
But I know what you're saying.
Yeah, there's just something about it that's not quite up to the same level as this. Like, if you take the opening duo of Hellion Electric Eye, and Electric Eye is a fast song, and you compare that to the side B opener, Screaming for Vengeance, I think the side A duo is far superior to the side B opener.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's me yammering on about my number 2 pick, Screaming for Vengeance. Over to you, Harrison.
Well, as you know, my take on Screaming for Vengeance is that there's only 2 songs worth listening to, and one of them is the one that I've modeled my name after. The show.
Mad Metal Man.
No, my nickname, sorry.
The Contrarian.
The Holland / eclectic guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's where that came from. Anyway, let's... I'd agree with that. Most of the album does. Island Contrarians unite.
Island Contrarians.
Yes.
That's funny. I like that.
That's good.
Anyway,
maybe there's something about being stuck on an island makes you go a bit loopy.
you don't have an excuse. Your island is an entire continent, so you don't have an excuse.
Most of it's desert. We got plenty of desert island to spare.
Boy, you make it sound like I need to move there immediately. Oh shit. Okay, sorry. So where were
Yes,
we? You're
number 2.
You're number 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Last year it was Nostradamus, and that might have been a little bit of recency bias there as well. I still love the album, but this year, getting a promotion from number 3 spot, it's Turbo. And I love Turbo. I love the synth. You know, there's not a bad song on Turbo. You know, when I first heard it, I was like, well, I'm not keen on Private Property. I'm not keen on Locked In. I'm not keen on Reckless. And then I listened to it, you know, a bit later. I'm just like, I like all these songs now. What was I thinking? There's not a bad song on that album. I love it. You know, I don't have a problem with the synth. Maybe if you had like one synth song on every Priest album, that'd be bad. But a whole album of synth is fine. You know what you're getting into with the album, and it's just rules.
It was a one-off specific direction that they pursued for. I don't think anybody really expected that to be the permanent Priest sound. If you were being realistic with yourself.
And I'm glad they pursued it. It's variety to the discography. And variety, as they say, is the spice of life.
But, you know, during the Painkiller era, they dropped everything from Turbo from the set list. They dropped everything from Ram It Down from the set list.
Good.
And they really tried to bury that whole era. Like, they didn't play Turbo again until, I think, the Demolition tour.
Yeah, Turbo Lover came out, with Ripper again.
Yeah. So, you know, they really did try to bury that whole period because, like, there was that backlash where it's like everybody, Maiden are getting too soft with synth. Priest, they're getting too soft with synth. And there was a real pressure for Maiden and Priest both to get heavy again. That's a fact. Anyway, that's a good pick, Mr. Harrison. Let's see what John has locked and loaded for his number 2.
All right. Well, we know the 2 albums that they're probably going to be.
There we go. Love it.
Yeah. For me, I mean, the opening song, Free Will Burning, I mean, speed metal, basically. Jawbreaker's kind of the same. It's just like boom, boom, straight into those 2 songs. I wrote a lot of notes because my memory sucks. I like how Ride Hard, Ride Free, Rock Hard, Ride Free. Very melodic in its sound, which they don't, they weren't always melodic, but there was some to it. Love Bites is just such a dark, ominous sounding song. And then I like Eat Me Alive because it's a nice dig at the PMRC. And then Heads Are Gonna Roll, I like that one, title track. And then, Heavy Duty and Defenders of the Faith combined together to end it. So it's all good stuff.
That's such a great album. And you mentioned Rock Hard, Ride Free. The demo version of that has a different title. It's called Fight for Your Life, right?
Right.
And not as good, but it really gelled when it became Rock Hard, Ride Free. And I had the T-shirt before I had the album, and I remember it said Rock Hard, Ride Free on the sleeve. And I was like, I hope that's a good song because my shirt says it. Lana, ever the contrarian, contends that Def Leppard's Love Bites is better.
It is, but they're totally different songs.
Yes. Let's take a look at the old sunset here before we go to the
Just
graph.
to clarify with John, Parental Guidance was the dig at the PMRC. It was Eat Me Alive that got their ire.
Sorry, you're right. I did.
Right.
I just had the PMRC note beside it. Because I knew that was related to that issue. But I misspoke on that one.
Right. It was specifically the line, I'm going to force you at gunpoint to eat me alive, was the line that got them in some trouble with the PMRC, which, as I alluded to earlier, it was the foundation, I believe, founded by Tipper Gore, or at least led by Tipper Gore. She was at least the figurehead leader of that organization.
It's one of those things. She was the focal point.
Right. And they did the Senate hearings in the 80s where Frank Zappa and Dee Snider famously testified. Frank Zappa made an excellent speech. And Dee Snider came in there with his speech folded up in a tiny little piece of paper that was in his pocket, and he unfolds it once and unfolds it twice. And then he spoke very eloquently, which surprised everybody because here's this guy in a jean cut-off vest.
Yeah, and hair just out to here.
Ridiculous hair, but he surprised everybody with his intelligence that day.
Yeah.
Okay, so cutting over to Geoff. We are with the graphs.
Excellent. All right. So that middle is getting a little bit more cozy as Turbo's joined the club now as well. Neat to see that it's still a standalone there. That was Defenders of the Faith was the album there, John?
Yes, it was.
Yes.
Excellent. The that it's a late entry, but it's still all by itself there. And then
Not for long.
Points wise, however, Turbo is maxed out, but it's doing pretty well.
Wow.
In its
Big
position.
respect.
Yeah, so we've got so far Turbo's in the gold, Sin After Sin in the silver, and temporarily Killing Machine in the bronze. But we shall see after the number ones.
Yeah.
There you go, Brian. Yes. It was definitely an era where we were worried about books being burned and albums were burned.
Well, yeah, and then they did that brilliant move of putting the sticker on there when all that did was drive sales.
Yes.
Because you wanted that album with that sticker on there.
Yeah.
It said it was not good for you. And so it kind of backfired on them.
It didn't have the impact that they were hoping it would have.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess this is it, guys. This is the number one round. Are we ready?
Ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
Defenders of the Faith. It was my first priest. John mentioned Jawbreaker as that, you got that free will burning Jawbreaker 1-2 punch right out of the start, right out of the gates. Then you have sort of like the slower, more mid-tempo stuff like I want to say Fight for Your Life, but it's Rock Hard, Ride Free. Then you had also the incredible Sentinel. Brilliant track. I loved the whole thing when I was a kid, although it took me a little bit longer to get into Night Comes Down. And, a rabbit. Hang on. We got to put the rabbit on. Can you see the rabbit right there in the middle between my car and the bush? He's standing perfectly still.
He's about to say he is not moving.
He is not moving. There he goes. There he goes.
There he is.
He's gone. Okay, so that is for Max the Axe, who complained last week we had no wildlife. We have a rabbit. Night Comes Down, which is the slowest tune on the album, took a few years for me to get into. But I love it now. I think that is a brilliant tune, maybe one of the best on the album. And Harrison, you mentioned something on our last year's live stream about the finale, the Defenders of the Faith coda, about you not liking that.
I might have at the time.
I've always loved that, and I always wished it was a full song, Defenders of the Faith.
I also didn't like Free Wheel Burning back then, and that has changed.
That was like the big single when I was growing up. And there was a video game that John will remember, and maybe Geoff too, called Geoff is smiling. Pole Position was the video game. And that music video, the hook to me was, oh, cool, look, a music video with Pole Position in it. And then it's got this band playing and these crazy lasers. And do you remember the scenes in the video where the lasers are hitting like mirrors on Halford's gauntlets and reflecting the lasers from his gauntlet? Like, it was the imagery. We talked about music videos before, Harris.
Yeah, all of that is new to me because I don't watch fake videos.
Right. But the impact that it had on us as impressionable young 13-year-olds, dude with reflecting lasers off his gauntlets while playing Pole Position, how could we not be sucked into Defenders of the Faith? It's a brilliant album. Harrison mentioned that it's unfortunate that most of the album was played live on that tour, which was the point at which Rob's vocals were really starting to suffer from his different addictions.
Oh yeah, like
his voice was a lot rougher.
Abysmal. He had no power, nothing, no grit.
It's true. Or it was maybe all grit because he had not much melody not much ability to deliver the melodies, but a lot of ability to deliver the notes.
Yeah. I listened to some of those tracks just yesterday. One of the ones was Night Comes Down, and for the chorus it explodes into this powerful, loud thing. In the live version, it's just like when the night goes. It's just so lacking in power. It's just bad to hear. I hate to be negative in round one, but it was not a good time for his voice, and I'm glad they played as many Defenders songs as they did on the Turbo Tour.
Negative in round one, yes, but it's an aside because we're talking about the tour rather than the album itself.
Yeah.
So really, it does not apply to my number one pick.
I know, yes.
Defenders of the Faith, unless you were talking about the full-on deluxe edition with the 2 discs of live material. But we're not. We're talking strictly just the studio albums. We could do a whole other day on deluxe editions and whatnot. But that's my number one, Defenders of the Faith. And my God, the sky is so orange. It's a real shame that the camera cannot pick it up, what I am seeing with my own eyes. But the sky is just a bright orange where I am. Over to you, Harrison.
Right. This was probably the most obvious entry. It is Defenders of the Faith. It always has. Always will be. Shocker. Defenders, yes. Yeah. I've liked this album even more now. There's not a bad song at all. It's all just top tier stuff. And I don't remember disliking the final coda of Heavy Duty Defenders of Faith earlier, but I do like it now. Like,
having a hard time, sorry.
I suppose if you hadn't just heard the 10 killer songs, it would be maybe a little cheesy and stuff. But after 10 songs of awesome, you want a song celebrating the very album that you listen to. It's just, the Sentinel, so many songs. And When the Night Comes Down is such a good song. It's like, I'm going to have a hard time deciding which of my Priest ballads is going to be the one to make the Ballads Remastered list. It's going to be one of the hardest decisions for that list.
Night Comes Down is a great ballad.
Yeah. Angel, Night Comes Down, Close to You. That's 3 of them right there.
Angel is a damn fine ballad, man, and especially for a latter day album. Yeah, big ups there.
Defenders is just, it's just such a great album. Yeah. I remember when I was first listening to it and I started liking these songs, I saw there was like 6 songs left, and I'm like, please be good, please like the rest of this, please like the rest of this. Because, at that point, I just shat on Screaming for Vengeance, I just shat on Point of Entry, I just shat on British Steel, and it was such that period of, Defenders Turbo in the series was just so nice to have albums that I loved and didn't have to shit on.
Well, I was very inspired by your love of Defenders of the Faith, and helped me recognize the fact that really, when it comes right down to it, I play Defenders more often than any other Priest album. It's been with me since I was 13 years old. Longer than any other Priest album. So really, that's a foregone conclusion for me. But
there are other albums I play more than Defenders, but that's because I want to preserve the Defenders experience. I don't want to get tired of it.
Yeah. Now, at this point, my relationship with Defenders is cemented at this point in my life. But, man, there's always going to be times, I can guarantee you I'm going to be listening to Defenders right here in this space this summer. Guaranteed.
I think another one of the differences for me was all the rasp that Halford put into his voice. It wasn't something he'd done before previously, and I think it really, really helped. He reminds me of Axl Rose on like some of the things like the Sentinel and stuff.
Yeah, I get you. Anyway, great pick, Harrison. Over to you, John. What is your number one? Take us out, buddy.
Well, my number one is one he shit on, so but it's because it's just a personal, it's the only album that I have a personal relationship knowledge of prior to this. Screaming for Vengeance.
Cool cover up.
Yeah. Back watching MTV. We got MTV in probably 82.
I'm just going to get something quick.
Seeing you got another thing coming on that. It's just kind of what got me into liking. I was more of a singles guy back then, but this was probably the only album I've ever heard outside of Fire Firepower that I've heard from beginning to end prior. I mean, Electric Eye, Bloodstone, I do love that one. And for me, the album's just solid. And then when you get to You Got Another Thing Coming, that song just is a step above every other song on that album. And so it's always my favorite song by them and will always be. And I do listen to this probably more than anything else. So, but that's my number one.
Great. Well, let's see where the charts take us, Geoff.
Yeah,
I'm really sorry for taking off.
Oh, no worries.
I just wanted to get something because the cover of Screaming for Vengeance reminds me a lot of the cover for this. It's got this mecha eagle on it, and when I first saw this, when I first saw this, I made the connection instantly. Like, hey, isn't that too similar to a Judas Priest album?
Or Budgie.
I mean, this is a shit DVD I've gone on. I brought this one up last time we did a Judas Priest show, so I'm not going to shit on it again. But
yeah, you did shit on that. I recognize that from when we did the last show. Sorry, somebody said Golden Hour at the Lake, so there's Golden Hour at the Lake.
That DVD's the worst thing I ever spent money on. Followed by a Bon Jovi live DVD.
Okay.
All right, what do we have here?
Next, before we do the Venn diagram, Harrison, you were mentioning there seems to be a correlation between hair length and quality of voice.
Oh my God.
I was curious is it a linear relationship or is it more zigzag? But it felt like this is where the thesis may begin. So
yeah.
So
generally, the longer the hair, the better the voice.
Yes.
The hair length differed over time periods, but yeah.
It was not linear, the hair length.
It
started long, as you can see on the far right. Then he cut it short, but then he went long again during the late 80s period before he shaved it all off.
Yeah.
My favorite period is the middle.
Nice. So it seems to be that if the length is the independent variable and the quality of the voice is the dependent, it seems to be as X increases, so does Y. So
there's also age to factor in as well.
True. That is true. That is true.
Yeah. We need one of the XYZ axes.
That's right. Some 3D.
Right. We just need to make Geoff work a little harder after doing all this for us. Look at that.
It's not
point of entry on its own. Nobody else picked point of entry.
Yeah. And John, I was secretly hoping, John, you'd go way off the board with Jugulator, Ramadan or something to get one on your own. But
I thought about it, but no, I couldn't.
But here we are. So what did that end up? 6 were overlap on all 3. So a third of the albums were deemed worthy by all 3 of you, which is kind of neat. 6 of the 18. And then sort of an interesting split the rest of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then points-wise, here it is.
Wow. Clear winner.
Yeah.
Clear winner.
And it's funny because that sent us up into a whole other bracket there. So the way I did the scoring was it was 1 point for the 11th place and 11 points for the first place. And so Defenders of the Faith got 32 of a possible 33 points, which is just unbelievable. And then what's in second? So Turbo in second, and it looks like Screaming just snuck into the bronze. So,
wow, 32 points.
Yeah.
Clear winner here with this group of listeners. So Geoff, I guess we can take that as advice. If you are going to explore further down beyond the 1001,
that middle
Defenders
area
of the Faith, Turbo, and Screaming are the clear cluster that you need to check out.
Yeah.
Sold.
And interestingly enough, they're all grouped together sequentially, and they all have the commonality of the artwork, all done by the same artist.
Okay.
Screaming also got 3rd place off only two picks as well.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Wow, true, because you shit all over it.
I'm surprised Firepower wasn't on your list, LeBrain.
I know, but like I said, it was in contention with whatchamacallit, Rockarola. And bottom line, as I do listen to Rock-a-Rolla a bit more frequently. Although I of the reunion era albums, I find myself going back to Firepower the most these days. It's got some good tunes on it. That what was the one we were talking about earlier?
No Surrender.
No Surrender. What a great tune.
Yeah.
Great tune. And
One of the best from the reunion.
I like Redeemer of Souls too. Like there's nothing wrong with Redeemer of Souls. It's just there's not enough. You can't absorb something into your heart the way that you can something you've lived with your whole life.
Right.
And I've only had a couple of years with Redeemer of Souls, and with all the music I have as an adult, and John, you can relate to this, the more music you gather in your life, the less time you have to spend with these more recent albums.
Yeah.
Brian is recommending that you also check out Sad Wings, Geoff.
Okay, done.
Well, boys, fantastic list show once again tonight. This is definitely a great remastered LeBrain Train episode. The first one was great with Harrison, but this was just awesome. I had a great time tonight, and these were some great lists.
As did I.
Great graphs. Let's just quickly do a round. And Harrison, why don't you tell us what you have been up to on your website, The Mad Metal Man on WordPress?
Nothing out of the ordinary, really, at the moment. It's just my regularly scheduled stuff. I did want to ask you something, though. If possible, can we keep the 24th of July reserved for like a list show?
It's certainly possible. I was talking to the other boys about it, and I'd like to kind of dominate on list shows for as much of the summer as I can. I want to get you guys involved and do fun stuff. Why July 24th? Curious.
Well, at the risk of tooting my own horn, my birthday is July 28th, the Wednesday, and the Saturday is when I'll be celebrating that birthday, and I can think of no better start to the day than a couple hours with you guys.
Dude,
in the morning.
Don't let me forget that. Sure. I'd love to be a part of your birthday, man. You and tell me who you want, and I'll see what I can get you, yes.
Blaze
That's a yes, Harrison. Yes.
Yeah. All right. We'll email him.
Oh, no.
Harrison, do you seriously prefer Painkiller over Screaming?
Of course, all the way. There's like 8 or 9 songs that I like off Painkiller and 2.5 off
Harrison
Screaming.
is never not serious when we do these list shows. Oh, snap-a-rooney. Yeah,
that's a good rule of life, actually.
So I guess we can officially say July 24th is going to be the Harrison Birthday Bash List show, and we'll talk later on, and we'll talk about who you want with you. It'll be great. We can do up to 10.
Very much.
You can do up to 10.
That would be a very long show.
It would be a very long show, but there you go. John, what are you up to? You've got a lot on your plate.
This week. Well, Sunday, for my Sunday song, we have a special edition.
Ooh.
Because last week was my 250th My Sunday song. So I'm doing the top 5 songs so far for that series.
Interesting.
The Aerosmith book is being reviewed.
Yeah.
I believe I have a Queen review and a Kiss review. But there's not many left of the Kiss review. I'm actually done with the Kiss review personally. I've been done for a couple weeks.
Except for the new album.
Except for the new album. But you guys won't get them all until July. By July will be sometime in July. It'll be over.
Yeah.
And I'm prepping for Cheap Trick to start pretty soon after the Kiss one's done.
You know what? That's a good chance for me to promote our show on June 18th, which is coming up real soon. We will be talking to Robert Lawson, the author of the Cheap Trick book, Still Competition, which I do not have out here with me, but I do have in there. I'll be taking a crash course.
I'll buy that one after I'm done with the Cheap Trick series. Yeah.
Nice.
I don't want it to taint my view.
Fair enough. I'll be just jumping right in there trying to listen to as much Cheap Trick as I can. Jeff,
if
what
I
have
may
you been
just
up to
quickly
lately?
First, I did actually have something interesting, special planned. I'll have to go get it. So, Jeff, go ahead while I
Jeff,
reckon
you go
myself
ahead
out.
while we wait for Harrison.
Nice. For me, pretty quiet until school's done for the summer, but the usual Sunday quizzes until then. So.
Yay.
Anything special planned for the summer? I mean, we have limited abilities.
No, I think just a lot of the kids love being outdoors, and so I think just hopefully just a lot of that sort of outdoor activity and yeah, a lot of relaxing.
Good. As you can see, that's kind of my vibe here too.
Yeah, exactly, as it should be.
So again, you can catch Geoff at 1001 albums in 10 years on WordPress. Harrison is the mad metal man on WordPress, and as you can see, John, he doesn't need a WordPress address. He's just plain old tooloud2oldmusic.com.
Yeah.
And I'll plug the upcoming schedule because we have so much going on. June 11th, next Friday, we have the best blind buys. Now, blind buys are albums that you just pick up on the spur of the moment without knowing too much about what you're buying. We're going to be talking about all of our favorites with Kevin Simister, Sarah Simister,
Nice.
Mr. Aaron, and for the first time ever, Mr. James McCuddy, who, incidentally, I had a test run with a few hours ago, and we had a nice little chat, and he is going to be great next week. I cannot wait to get James on the show.
Awesome.
He's got the full-on thick Scottish accent, and it's going to be real refreshing. So that is next Friday. Next Saturday, we have the third appearance of Mr. Andy Curran from Coney Hatch.
Wow.
I'm going to put the sunset up on the screen while we... while we run through these. Don't need to look at me. Andy Curran returning next Saturday, 1 p.m. for his third appearance. That'll be with co-host Super Deek, and we will be asking him everything we did not ask him the first two times. I believe we will be focusing on a forthcoming live album, live in Germany, and the Coney Hatch 4 album that we didn't really talk about a whole lot. Then we have Robert Lawson on Friday, June 18th, the author of that Cheap Trick book. He's also done one on Nazareth. The following Saturday, we have Jacob Moon, who he was one of many artists listed in our Cover Tunes list show. Jacob Moon, notable for some of his Rush covers. Can't wait to talk to him. The time is to be announced, but that'll be Saturday, June 19th with Jacob Moon. June 25th, we have Brian Hamilton from Stormforce, and he's going to be debuting his new band. Well, not debuting. They actually put out their first single this week. His new band called Suicide Star. They just put out a new track called Mercy, and they have an album. I believe it's called Isolation. And we will be talking to Brian Hamilton and maybe some of the other members of Suicide Star on June 25th. And then on July 2nd, we have Mr. Ryan Williams, Grammy-nominated Ryan Williams, who is an engineer mixer, and maybe Jon Snow can tell us who he is.
He's my brother-in-law. I married his sister.
And he is possibly most notable for his work with Stone Temple Pilots.
Stone Temple Pilots, Train. He's done Pearl Jam, Linkin Park, Limp Bizkit, Deftones, Kelly Clarkson.
Wow.
Pink.
Wow.
He's worked with quite a few people.
That's incredible. That is going to be with you, John. We'll be together again on July 2nd.
Yep.
And I haven't got anything too much booked beyond that yet, but we do have a confirmation from Dave Lismy of the Four Horsemen. He will be back to do a rescheduled interview on July the 16th. Looking forward to that. As you guys may know, Dave Lismy showed up as a surprise guest last Saturday on our list show with Aaron and Tim from Tim's Vinyl Confessions. But we do have an actual interview with Dave scheduled for July 16th. So I am very, very much looking forward to that. And that's the LeBrain Train schedule. That's it.
So for the thing I grabbed, when I bought my copy of the 2 CD Best of the Beast many years ago, I bought it from a Japanese guy. And so I got these Japanese liner notes as a bonus. And I want to see if I can, translate some of it, because they got some interesting things. Like, along with the lyrics, they've got descriptions of like some of the songs. And what I want to know is what virus has to do with Somewhere in Time, specifically the loneliness of a long distance runner and Alexander the Great. And I want to know what Man on the Edge has to do with Aces High. because I'm seeing those words.
I see those words. I see
pop
them.
up, and so I might try to translate some of that. It's also got like this A to Z of Iron Maiden in there as well. So there's some interesting things in there that aren't in the regular Best of the Beast liner notes. So I might have a go at seeing what I can get from that, because I don't have many rarities, but
that's cool.
Yeah.
So do you have an actual Japanese copy or just the Japanese booklet?
I assume it's a Japanese copy, because the copy I bought, I mean, there's no difference between them. It's just a 2 CD Best of the Beast.
Right.
But I assume that the Japanese copies came with the Japanese version of the liner notes and stuff, because the book, the double deluxe book that I have is, you know, the English version that you have and that my dad has a copy of as well, busted up. So yeah,
cool.
It's one of the few Japanese things I have. I also have a Japanese copy of Made in Japan / Purgatory.
Right, that's special because it's very hard to find all 5 tracks.
Yeah, it's not all 5. Unfortunately, but it's still good enough. Like, I bought it for like $35, including shipping. The seller listed it in good condition, but it was like new when I got it. The whole thing, it was pristine.
Sometimes they go a little conservative on those because they're entering so many sales and Discogs and eBay at one time. They're just like, just put good. Don't worry about it. We know that it's at least that good. Like, a lot of the time I'll go through my Discogs and buy stuff and they'll say like Obi strip is missing. Obi strip is actually there, you know? So it's happened many times. And
better than they under promise.
Right. A lot of these guys that mass sell Japanese imports, I find they under promise and over deliver because the reverse is not desirable. Yeah. Anyway, that's been my personal experience with buying Japanese imports. And as Brian has noted, I have a few of them. Well, guys, I thank you once again. Ooh, there's some traffic. I thank you once again for a
convoy.
There's a lot of activity here tonight. Wow. I thank you once again for appearing tonight, guys. I really appreciate it. We should have a live auction. I'm not selling anything. I'm not selling anything.
No, LeBrain will be buying things live.
And I'm not selling real estate. No. Okay, there you go. Some pro tips from Brian. He would know. Let's go out on a music video. I haven't played this one yet, I don't think. You remember we played a few weeks ago a band called Clockwork Orange with a version of Victim of Changes. I'm not going to play Victim of Changes tonight. I know that seems kind of wrong, but I've played Victim of Changes a ton. So we're actually going to play a different tune by Clockwork Orange. This is their cover of Got the Time by Anthrax. Good one to go out on. So thank you once again, guys. Have a wonderful weekend, a wonderful Friday night.
You too.
And I can't wait till we do it again. All right. Take care, gentlemen.
Guys. Thanks so much.
See you later.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah.
Ciao.
Thanks, Mike. Bye.
Another one. This is a little Anthrax song originally written by Joe Jackson called Got the Time. Letter just right. Thank God, gotta get this letter just right. Little ringing on the telephone, way off with a ringing in the head now. No such thing as tomorrow. Only 1, 2, 3, go time! The time tick tick ticking in my head. Turn the time tick tick ticking in my head. Turn the time tick tick ticking in my head. Ticking in my head. Ticking in my head. Ticking in my head. Someone doesn't what the time is. I don't know. They know I gotta go now. No time trying to get my watch to bed. No time, never got a thing to add. They're ringing on the telephone, way off with a ringing on my head now. No such thing as tomorrow. Only 1, 2, 3, go time! For the time tick tick ticking in my head. For the time tick tick ticking in my head. For the time tick tick ticking in my head. Ticking in my head.